These days, this is the only queuing traffic you're likely to see. People lining up to get tested for COVID-19.
I went on the site on Tuesday evening, but in 10 minutes I booked a site for today.
So you've been quite impressed with it?
Very impressed.
Well, I think they've done their best. I don't think they could have done any better with the whole world in the same situation.
It'll be music to Matt Hancock's ears. The Health Secretary faced intense criticism for failing to scale up testing faster and to get tests into care homes sooner. But there's no question testing is catching up with the best of the rest. Italy has the highest rate of testing amongst the worst hit countries, more than 32,000 people per million of population. Spain and Germany have similar rates, while the United States is testing around 18,000 per million. Today, the UK overtook South Korea, where aggressive testing stopped their outbreak in its tracks. And testing is one of the government's central strategies for ending the current restrictions. But in order to test our way out of lockdown, we need to have a reliable idea of who's had the virus, who hasn't, and how many people might be immune to it. And the only way to do that is to use antibody tests like these. And without them, some experts say we're flying blind. These are some of the millions of antibody test kits bought by the government. They're not reliable enough to give individual results, but the team here hope to prove they're good enough to mail out to thousands of people across the UK to get the first statistical snapshot of how much virus is out there.
It's going to be really helpful for us to understand where we are with the epidemic, and that will help us understand what happens next. And obviously we're worried about what might happen in the autumn, whether the virus will come back. And understanding how many people have been infected helps us understand when that might happen, or if it might happen.
But to keep the outbreak in check, experts warn testing can't be just an emergency response.
The government has not enabled local government and local public health departments to do this. It should be giving them the resources and the manuals, but giving them the ability to operationalise it.
A lot has to happen to lift the lockdown, but making testing sustainable and locally available is central to it.
And Tom is here to talk about various things. Listen, we've talked quite a lot about vaccines. That's one potential way out of this. Testing is another, which you were talking about there, but treatment is another. And there's been a lot of talk after last night's announcement about this new antiviral drug. Not a magic bullet in any sense, but maybe a first chink. What's your own take on that today and the discussion of it?
Yeah, I think the treatment story is a very important one because it's becoming clear, as we've said before, vaccines, if there's a miracle, could be by the end of the year, but possibly much longer. We need something much more urgently than that. Treatment's maybe the best hope. This trial of remdesivir, this American drug, was mentioned in the press conference today by both of the government's science advisors as showing promise. That is, though, I think it's really important to reiterate, that's the most we can say at the moment. There just isn't enough data about whether this is a life-saving drug or maybe just a sort of life-prolonging drug. We just don't know yet. But the fact it's showing some effect has given a big boost to people out there who want to try and develop antiviral drugs. And it's not the only one. There are other new antivirals going to trials here in the UK. Importantly, a Norwegian one that's going to trial in London as we speak. Other ideas as well, not to forget all the existing medicines that are being trialled in the largest trial in Europe, again, within the NHS. If there is hope in the short term, it's possibly for a treatment that might help at least shorten the length of disease for some people and improve life survival in some.
OK, Tom, thank you very much indeed.